When you reach a
Survival-based
space of
versus relating-based
adult maturity, let me
relationships.
say that. When you get to a space of adult maturity, you observe a lot of things, you heard a lot of things, you've seen a lot of things, uh, you unlearn of a lot of things. And once you unlearn of a lot of things, it helps how you see things. And that's one way you know you've got into the adult maturity in life. Those that have not hit the adult maturity in life, a lot of times are still caught up in the opinion, in the fantasies, or the layout that was presented to you on how people needs to relate. So with that in mind, it brings a big difference in terms of our attitude relationships and our approach and our practices in relationships. One reason why the narrative of the relationships they seem like it never changes, it never graduates to a higher level of understanding of relating, is because people are stuck inside a certain mode of thinking about relationships. And to make it real simple, because some of y'all probably heard that, I talk about, I distinguish the difference between um, survival based relationships versus relating based relationships. And those that hit adult maturity begin to transition more into the relating based relationship. Okay. So it's a different orientation. When you are in survival based relationships, which most relationships are, let's just be honest. Most of us are in relationships, might not say it, but it's all about incentives, what I'm getting, performance, and why. And you see it. You see it on social media, you see it on TV. And most people are showing their dissatisfaction with the relationship or the relationship choices or their experiences because it came from the space of survival. What can I get from this person? And if I get this, I'll be able to give that. And so what begins to happen is that it puts you in a space of instinct. It puts you in a space of you're always trying to negotiate your position or trying to leverage. And there's a whole bunch of different things that begins to go on that's that's unseen, but as you spend time with them, it becomes more seen. All right, and so it becomes the tick for tack. And the end of the day is there's no endurance in those type of relationships. And so sadly, what we see now is that a lot of people are realizing and facing that, but they still don't want to reflect. Now, those that have endurance and those that have this congenial type of experience of relationships, and it seems like it's ever loving, and their love is ever expansive, and they're able to relate any kind of way that they need to, and still have this level of compatibility, this adoration, this level of peace, this level of unity that does exist. A lot of people don't even believe that exists. Like I just said, that shows if you don't believe that exists, that's also pointing to my point, is that pretty much you've been operating relationships more from the survival side. Those on the relational side don't get caught up in what I can get from you, what you're going to do for me. It really becomes more about the flow, the interplay of the masculine and feminine, working towards the harmonization. It really becomes more about being the peace for each other, being the growth for each other, being the support of each other, allow them to be a haven, allow them to become free. Um, the relational part of it understands that relationships is more operative versus being more incentive. Survival based relationships are focused a lot on incentives. They might make it known, or a lot of times it's not spoken. But if you observe, you'll see it's about the incentives. And when those incentives are not met, that's when you begin to see the relationships begin to turn. Whereas when you look at the relational side, you don't really see that. You see more longevity, you see more endurance, you see more appreciation, you see the love begins to grow, you see more of that unification, you see more intimacy because they understand that the relationship is more about the operation, the interplay. So they begin to tap into the skills and the practice and the behaviors that allows them to be more flexible, all right, with each other so they can begin to stay in a certain flow. Relational based relationships are more rhythmic. And so what I mean is they find themselves more, they trying to sink in with each other's harmony. So they're more focusing on that versus on the incentive that they can get from each other. So that's the distinction. Something to think about.